So how to think about if you have to make a flower, either in 3D or maybe like by drawing. So I actually like to draw and also model plants, flowers included. I mean, plants have usually like quite clear structures. Also, the like how to make the materials look real is an interesting challenge. But let's talk about the shapes first. Like every plant has its own distinct shape of the leaf, and also the flower. All the flowers have their own distinct geometric shapes in the petals, and in the middle of the flower is also looking different in every species. So, as with all modeling, I usually start with a drawing, sketching from life if I can. Well, there's not many plants around now outside that would be green. So I just went to see online what flowers look like. Of course, I could have bought some, but there are allergic people in like where I live, so I didn't do that this time. So, for instance, a tulip looks structurally different from a rose, and but also there's some similarities with tulips and roses. Like in both cases, the petals are mostly going upwards at first, at least, and then the petals are inside each other. In roses, there are even more petals than in a tulip, and the tulip petals are more are higher and in shape, and also more triangular in the general shape. So usually, even when I start sketching a flower, I often think about, or always think about, its structure first. And then when I have that, then it's easy to also draw the flowers and also draw them later from memory. And you don't always need to have like a live model. So there's another sort of flower. Is this, by the way, a daisy in English? Päivänkakkara.
I think it's daisy, yeah.
So, like, this has a like classic flower shape that like 6-year-old would draw if somebody would tell a 6-year-old to draw a flower. In a way, but also when you look at the geometry, there are many interesting things here. Like, for instance, the middle, how it goes down here, and of course for those of you who are worried about materials and textures, this is like really interesting too, how all of this looks like here. And of course, how the petals act together with sunlight is interesting, but geometrically speaking, it's interesting how in an organic thing, in a live flower, the petals are not evenly spread. So some petals are, of course, missing. They have gone away from the wind or other things, and anyway, they are growing not all neatly in one row, but they are growing in several rows. Also, like limittäin. What's that word in English? Like on top of each other. That's not quite the same as limittäin. Anyway, organic structures have like a geometric underlying structure, yes, but they are also not too clean. So there is this variation going on, which makes it look organic. And of course, in the stem, there is like some flowers are more bent and some less bent. And my goal here is to make a flower with a rigging in the stem, so I can bend it in different ways. Okay, there's, by the way, pictures of roses. So one basic rule for making like sketches or paintings of flowers is that you don't look at it as something that is cute, but that you look at it from the structural side and how the light and colors act on it. I mean, if we think of flowers, well, they are the sexual organs of plants. So yeah, then it will become, when you think of it like that, then it's a little bit strange that we are giving them as gifts to each other. But anyway, what I find interesting in the like rose petals is that they are almost like rectangular in their basic shape, but then they start like dipping the more they get aged. And of course, every flower has a different kind of leaf shape as well, which is often not related to the petal shape at all. Okay, but enough about these flowers. What I wanted to do was actually this sort of little children's daisy model with just 5 or 6 petals. And I made some sketches beforehand. And yeah, so let's get going into Blender and see what we can do there. Like I said earlier, there are many ways of solving this challenge, like how to make a flower, and I'm only showing one of them. We're going to do trees later on, so I'll show a couple of other ways of making plants over then. Okay, and again, probably many people who are more efficient than me, they have put their tutorials in the web to show how they make their plants. But I think as much as I like watching tutorials, it's also interesting to think about like challenge yourself, like how would I do a flower? Like how would I do this particular kind of flower in 3D? Like think about how the program works and how you can make it work for you. So could be seen maybe as an engineering thing as well as a design thing, both maybe. Anyway, I'll get rid of this basic cube at first, and then we haven't done so much stuff with n-gons before during this course. So also we haven't done much with curves yet. I mean, what we've done is we've used these polygon meshes, mostly the cubes, but there are other ways of making stuff in Blender, such as curves. But right now, what I want to do is like maybe a cylinder or a circle. Okay, let's start with a cylinder. So a cylinder has an n-gon in the middle, which means basically a polygon that has several sides. So I've told you about triangles, and then we've mostly used quads, which have 4 sides, and then basically anything over that is called an n-gon, although also a quad is an n-gon. Okay, so I'll create a cylinder, and before I do anything else, I go to the settings here, and let's see, I'll put the vertex count down a little bit because I want to keep all of this as low poly as possible before I make it high poly again. Right, so 22 vertices. You could have just made 5 or 6 as well. Okay, let's go down to 12 vertices. Or maybe I could even go lower than that into the 6 that I mentioned before. 7, 6 or 7, because I'm thinking of just drawing, putting the petals onto the sides. Yeah, so let's keep it at 6 so far. And I could change radius. Well, it doesn't matter so much because I'll start making the stem from the bottom of this cylinder anyway. Or I could make the stem like this, and then I just make loop cuts, but I think I'm going to make it with extrusions instead. Okay. And after that, yeah, like I said, I'm going to make extrusions, and I'm not going to tell every step now. Because as I've said before, I'm more efficient at modeling when I don't talk at the same time. I'm probably going to have to make some loop cuts here anyway. And I will have to add geometry later on when I'm doing the rigging. kind of a short flower, but see it like this now, and cut over here, I guess. Okay. And like I said, I was interested about the middle part also. It goes first up and then down. So just using the E keys and the S keys mostly, and then for the going for the translation or the moving, I use G, and then I click Z for going up in the Z axis. Or I could have just used this and go with that. Okay, I think that is. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this so far. And now it's time to also save this file and name the cylinder to maybe stem. And then I'm going to create the petals as separate objects. And then either I will join them with this flower, or then use just parenting to make them go around it. Okay, there's the stem. I'll shade it smooth. No, it's not a good idea with this one. Shade it flat. So. Okay, and there are several methods how I could proceed with the petals. One method would be to draw it as a curve or as a vector in, for instance, Adobe Illustrator or some other vector program, then import it here as an SVG file. But I'm going to use like a really simple method because I want to make simple leaves. Okay, let's first make this stem invisible for now. So I'm going to create just a plane and then start from there. And I also want to use later on a modifier that will give it a little bit more like depth. Okay. So I'll first, in the object mode, I'll make the basic shape like this. So let's see how I am with the size in comparison with the flower. Maybe too big. Yeah, far too big. I think this is better. Anyway, I can change it later. Okay, let's take the top view. Yeah, why not? Okay, that's approximately right. Okay, what I also want to do, I want to change the where this leaf start, or where this petal starts. Like right now, the middle point is over here, and I don't want that. Actually, I want the middle point, or the to be over here, and I'll just put this to the close to the 0 axis, where this origin point. Okay, there, it's called the 3D cursor. So I want to put the origin point to the 3D cursor, like this. So now, whenever I'm rotating my leaf, it won't rotate from the center, but from here. Like a small thing, but it's really handy to have. Okay, I'll call it now a petal. Okay, and now it's time to go into the edit mode and give it some shape. And what I need is subdivide. Okay, and one cut. It's nice, but I need more cuts to be enough in this case. That's the question. Like I said, I want to keep this as simple and low poly as possible, but well, maybe this would be enough. Almost too much already, but yeah, I think I can handle this. Famous last words. Okay, then I'll change this to vertex select. And okay, I'll go to the top view. And start selecting. Oh, by the way, a good idea would be to enable the mesh symmetry. Okay. Maybe not this way, but rather like this. keep the origin point in a nice position.
How did you do the symmetry?
Oh, I clicked here, enable mesh symmetry in the x-axis. So nothing fancier than that.
For some reason, it just does nothing for me, but okay.
It only works when your mesh is perfectly symmetrical already.
Yes, that's right.
I didn't know. I didn't do anything to it to make it not symmetrical, but okay.
If it doesn't work, just use the symmetry modifier.
Ah, but then you have to cut it in half first. And yeah, I have to say I was too lazy to do that this time because there are so few vertices to work with. Okay, what I also need here is not just a 2D shape, but a 3D shape, because like leaf is a 3D shape, although it's quite flat in many ways. So I think in order to make it more realistic, I'll put the middle vertices down. And Tina, after I'm done, or do you want to share your screen already now? I can put this on pause.
No, it's fine. I'll just do it like not symmetrical or something.
Yeah, I mean,
or I can just try making a new one.
Okay, I mean, it's an organic thing, so it doesn't have to be totally symmetrical. It's just like it's a little bit easier to model when I keep it symmetrical. Then I don't need to work on all the sides at once. Okay, so I think there's enough leafy shape here now. So like I said, this is a very simple flower. Okay, I'll go back to object mode, and now I'll add the modifier that I was talking about. And after that, I think I'll make a little bit of a like texture to it. Okay, add modifier. And this time I'm not going to the subdivision surface modifier, but I'm going to use something called solidify modifier. That will give this 2D object a 3D edge. Okay, so now it's asking me what the thickness is, and I want it to be thicker than this. Not quite that thick though. Maybe this would be nice. It's quite thick as it is. Maybe a bit thinner. Okay. So I'm not going to apply the modifier yet, only later. So just keep it over there. Okay. So I don't think the leaf has any, or the petal has any sort of like material yet. it's looking quite boring as such. So I'll add a new material to it. And let's see. What color should it be? Okay, like the base color doesn't actually matter. Shading anyway. And try out a couple of things. At this point, I'll save it again. Okay. There we go. So let's see, what do I want? I definitely want it to be a little bit like maybe transparent or maybe translucent. So for that, I will need let's see, a node for the translucency. Can be found in the shaders. There's the translucent BSDF. Also, there's one for glass. If I want to have a glass flower for some reason, that might be fun. Okay, there's the translucent BSDF, and in order to connect this with anything, I need to have like a mix shader between these. But just to show how it would look like on its own. So let's disconnect this one. So on its own, it doesn't look like much, as you can see. So let's put the mix shader here to mix these two. And I don't think I have shown this on the course, so that's one reason I'm doing this right now. Okay. A bit better now. Another thing is the specularity, how like shiny I want to have that leaf. Or if I would like to have maybe some sort of gradient there, for instance. Okay, what I need here is also some sort of color. Okay, there's the color ramp that can be used for many things. So blue flower or red flower, that is the question. Okay. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Could be the other way around that I should have used. No. Okay, if I put some mapping nodes here, then I could, over to the left side, then I could also say how the color ramp is going to go and how the gradient is going to be. Maybe I should do it actually, or just use spherical over here or radial. It's a bit too. Okay, I'll keep it this way for now. I did get a little bit of a feeling that I'd like to have like a glassy texture for these petals. So let's make another. There's the glass BSDF. I'll need another mix shader now. Question is where to put it. Here. Okay, let's give it some color already, and I'll just duplicate this mix shader. It's good. It's faster that way. Okay. Not quite what I expected. Let's see what I can do with the roughness. Values. Multiscatter. Okay. I could keep tweaking on this, but then I would bore you. So maybe I just so now you saw what the mix shaders are and basically how to use them, which was one of my goals here. So let's get back into the layout mode. And by the way, the stem itself doesn't have any material either. So it would be also high time to give it some base color. Maybe a bluish green would be good. Okay. And let's see if the petal is the right size at all. Approximately, yes. So, and how about where it is situated? yeah, maybe here. Okay, let's go to the top view. And there is, by the way, a modifier for like replicating things. If you need something in a like big number, it's called an array modifier, but there are so few pedals, and also I don't want to place them in a like mechanical way, but an organic way, which is why I'm not using the array modifier now. So, but I can show you still where to find it. It's over here in array. So at some point, if you want to try it out, be my guest. Of course, you don't need my permission in order to use Blender. Right, so I need to first place this pedal where I want it to be. And now I can see the transformations over here, so I can just put that also as a number 90. Okay, yeah, or minus 90. Doesn't matter really. Oh. And then I'll just make a duplicate of this. Right. By the way, if I want to see these numbers, I can also click N on the and get the side panel out with N. And later on, when we're using MBLab, it's also here in the side panel, as you can see with me here. So it shows the transform options also over there. Anyway, maybe that was not necessary information, or maybe it was. You never know. Okay, so a duplicate, Shift D, and then change this to 180. Oh no, that was not what I intended. Okay, so minus 40 degrees. Oh no, it will be minus 45. Nope. If I had been more attentive in Lookio geometry, this would be like not at all. No.
I just typed there like plus 90 and plus 45 and it goes well. Like after the what's there already.
Okay, minus 30 works fine over here.
If you set your pivot point to the 3D cursor, you don't have to move the pedals around when you rotate. They'll rotate around the cursor nicely.
Yeah, that's right. Or I could just not use the numbers at all and set them organically. which was my original plan, by the way. Because after I have done these copies, I will also change the way that the petals are situated. Like I'm going to change the like the angle in other ways as well. So in other words, I don't want it to look too geometrically clean. By the way, all the petals now have the same material. So what changes I make to one petal, it will all go to all of them. Okay, so let's move this a little bit. So this one. By the way, what I didn't do here was to give some leaves, for instance, here. And so if you have the time, you can do that and make your flower look more flowery. Okay. So everything is in one scene collection now. Okay, I'm now thinking if I should just parent all the petals to the stem, or okay, let's do that. This parenting is also a big part of rigging. And as many times as I've done this, I always tend to make the mistake first of doing this the wrong way around. So let's see if I can do this to do it the right way this time. So when you're parenting one thing to something else, then you have to, or basically grouping them, you have to let the program know what you want to parent to what. Okay, so first I clicked on the stem and then on the petals. Let's see if I do it right this time. As I said, I tend to do it wrong the first time always. So I go to object, parent, and parent to the object. You can also just drag the objects on each other in the view window. Okay, this time I did it right. So first you have to click on the object that you want to be a parent, and then you click on all the other objects that you want to parent them to. So now you see that the petals are parented to the stem. So whenever I move the stem around, all the petals should be following, and that's what they do. And you have been on the, or most of you have been on the graphics in motion class, so you remember parenting from, for instance, After Effects. So it should mean nothing new. Okay, so next phase, the actual bones. So we can do the rigging. So we can make the stem move and bend. For this, I think I'll take a side view, and I'm going to save this first. So let's see, it doesn't matter with this flower, what is the top and what is the side. But I want to see all of it. Okay, there's the front. So I want to I'll have to start the rigging by creating bone objects, and the bones will go inside the stem, and they will then bend it in different ways. Okay, by the way, I did forget one important thing. I need to increase the geometry of the stem first. Because if there is too little geometry, then the bones will not bend anything. They will bend only the geometry that is there. So if there are polygons that can be moved, it will move them. But if the polygons don't exist, then it's no use making the bones. And as you can see from the edit mode, this stem of the flower has very few polygons. Okay, what I need is to add the subsurface modifier. So subdivision surface modifier. Okay, and how much do I want to? Too much geometry, just enough for this to work. So I think this will be enough. Yeah. So then I need to also apply it.
Sorry, what was the modifier?
The one that we have used before in order to make more geometry, the subdivision surface.
Okay.
Multi-resolution would have been another option. So I'll apply it. And now when I go to the edit mode, there's some shiny new geometry. And by the way, it also has made some of my I mean, this makes everything very smooth. So I want to give some hard distinctions. Okay, now I'm happier. Okay, so that was something that I forgot earlier, but so let's get back to the front view and start making the bones. And the bones are separate objects, so I can't have the flower or the stem like as a selected object while I'm creating the bones. Okay, by the way, I put the flower in the wrong position. Not so great. Again, I forgot. Okay, here we go. Let's put it up.
We can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Okay, I didn't actually say anything earlier. I just mumbled, so maybe that's why you couldn't hear me. Anyway. Right, so I actually don't need the material preview. The solid mode is good. And here we go. And I think I'm now finally ready to create my first bone. So here over down here under armature, you can create a single bone. If you have the extra armature add-on in the preferences, then you will also see the human metric and the animals like the bird and the cat and the horse, and for some reason the shark. I don't know, are people modeling so many sharks that it's important to have a shark rig? I don't know. Anyway, what I'm going to do create is a single bone, and I can't see it, which means that I need to go to the armature settings in order to see it better. There we have both visibility and viewport display. It's viewport display that I want, and I click in front. This was previously called X-ray. Now it's called in front. Anyway, if I now click off the bone, you can actually see it, I hope. There it is. Over here, there's a bone. It's very small, so I think I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And it should be directly inside my stem, but I'll check that also if it's in the middle. Yes, it's there. Okay, so what I need to do is to go into the edit mode and start editing this bone and also extruding new bones out of it. Okay, so it has already given me the one end of the bone, so both of these ends can be like grabbed. So I can now make it a little bit longer. So how many bones are needed is a question that depends on your model and how much you want it to bend and where. How much do I want the flower to bend? So I think this might be a good length for my first bone. Let's go to front view again, and this time what I'm going to do with the extrusion, I want to have a little bit more control for it, and the bones. Sometimes when you extrude them and then you draw them out right away. Now I click the E for extrusion. then they go like this, blah, blah, blah. And I want it to go straight up. So there are a couple of ways for doing this. What I prefer, other people might prefer other ways, but what I prefer is that after I have clicked E for extrusion, I click enter right away, which means that the new bone is there, but it hasn't, I haven't drawn it out yet. So now I click E on my keyboard for extrusion, and right away after that, I click enter. And now I can draw the bone out directly with the move keys. Okay, as I said, there are other ways of doing this. This is my method. And then I make the new bone again by clicking E and enter, and then drawing it out. And same thing again. And with human and animal characters, you might need to draw out bones from the to the sides and stuff. But as I said, I wanted to show you the most simple way of rigging that there is, so that you understand the principle. Okay, and one more. And do I need one more after this? I don't think so. Well, maybe one. Okay. So as I said before, the armature needs to be parented to whatever object you want to bend with it. So this armature needs to be parented to the stem, and I'll change the name of the armature to bones. Sounds vaguely disturbing, but that's what it is now. Okay, again, just like with parenting the petals to the stem, I first need to click on the object that I want to have as a parent, which is the bones. And after that, I click on the stem. And now for some reason, I also click the light, which was not my intention. So I click it over here. And now the light is not in the gang. Okay, so next, what I need to do is not just simple parenting, but I need to give it some weight. I mean, the bones, the armature needs to know where it should bend. And I'm going to do this like the lazy way and let the program decide. So the way I do it is object, parent, then there's armature deform, and automatic weights. So that means that I let Blender decide automatically where it's going to take the bones. Okay, so I need to now test if this actually works. Okay, I think I did a mistake because here it should not say stem, but it should say flower bones. So that was a mistake. Let's do it the other way around this time. So first the stem and then the bones. Should they form with automatic weights? Okay, now it's the right way. It should be the right way because it says flower bones here. So that is the ultimate parent, all of them, the grandparent. Okay, so now I want to test it, and somebody is sending me a lot of emails right now, but I'll just ignore them for now. So now that there are bones and they have been attached to something, hopefully, something like called pose mode is now available. So I'll put the bones into pose mode and test them. And let's take just the rotation, and let's take one of the bones, and if I rotate this bone, then everything else should go around, and it does. And for some reason the petals are not following. So it seems that the simple parenting to the stem did not help with the petals, but otherwise it works. So what I should do is go back a couple of steps and then make the petals part of the stem by joining them. Yeah, I guess I need to do that. So a couple of steps back. Then object and join. And I took the name of the last petal to it. I'll call it still stem. Then I click on the flower bones and parent them. So you notice that also from what I do, that I make mistakes all the time in 3D, but it's no reason to panic. You just have to go back and think a bit what was your mistake, and then try another way of handling that. Because that's the nature of 3D, that you do make mistakes all the time, unless you're some sort of genius. Okay. And it's bending. So it would have looked nicer if there had been like a nice leaf going out of here, but I didn't have the time to do it for this lesson. I did do it for my for the example that I made earlier. Okay. So I'll stop sharing now and stop the recording, and then let's go into your questions.